All right, so our warm-up activity is going to be drawing our portrait. So just like in the Frida Kahlo video, she had her portrait and then she had these symbols that go around her. So we're going to start by drawing our portrait, and then after that, we'll add in some of the symbols that we collected in our slides. So you can see this is the second part. So we're going to start though by just drawing ourselves. So if you, for whatever reason, because of your religion or because of your belief systems, don't believe in drawing a picture of yourself, you can just use the images that you collected to replace the image of yourself in the middle. So you can be drawing more just like a symbolic portrait instead of an actual representational portrait that goes in the center of our picture. Okay, so how do we draw a portrait of ourselves realistically? So I'm going to talk about how we can do some measurements for that. But the first thing you want to do is take a picture of yourself using your camera on your Chromebook. So the camera, I actually linked a video in your how-to list on your classwork in your Google Classroom. So you can pause this and go watch that video, or if you know how, you can just shoot a picture of yourself quick. And then you're gonna have that picture up on your screen while you're working on your drawing. Okay, so I have my picture on my screen. So I'm taking a look at it as I'm starting to think about doing my drawing. So I want my drawing to be fairly prominent in my picture, but I don't want it to take up the whole page. And maybe you as the artist decide that you want yours to be smaller or something, and then more of your symbolic imagery going around it. That's going to be up to you as the artist to decide that. So for me, I'm just going to have mine fairly prominent because I'm going to follow what I did in my example there that I already showed you guys. So I start by drawing. So to draw your face, I start by figuring out kind of like I just said, what size you want that facial feature to be, your face to be, not facial feature, your face to be. So I'm going to draw a circle first, and that's going to help us get like the size of our head. These are going to be really, really light, sketchy lines so that we can erase. We're going to do a lot of erasing in this type of drawing because we're just kind of like build out the structure of the face. So then from there, from drawing that circle, I want to kind of start building our chin area. So that comes down from the side. And you should be looking at your picture because we all have a little bit of a different chin. So while I'm drawing, I'm looking at my image and I'm looking back at the page, looking at my image, looking back at the page. So I'm always kind of going back and forth with that. Again, these are really light, sketchy lines. So I'm almost like searching for the right shape. I'm not committing to anything right now. I'm just like letting my pencil kind of search for that shape. Then once I have this sort of facial shape, I'm going to add the neck in. Again, looking back at my page, how thick is the neck? I can do what I call measuring. So I can measure as long as I hold my pencil in in the same place from the screen. I can measure how wide my face is and how wide my neck is, and then get some idea of the difference between those two. Okay, so I'm going to draw in my shoulders. I'm looking at my picture the whole time. Okay, so now that I have this basic feature, then I'm gonna start adding in my my facial features. So when you want to add in your facial features, you're going to divide the face up. So you kind of go in the center of, from here to here, you kind of like break it off in the center. And surprisingly, the center of your face is where your eyes go. So people tend to put their eyes like way up top when they're learning how to draw a face, but they actually go much, much lower than we think they do. The other line that you can draw is you can draw a line down the center, and that will help you space out and make it symmetrical. Symmetrical is another word that we use when things are the same on one side than the other. Okay, so now that I have those two lines, I'm gonna kind of estimate how low my nose goes. So my nose is probably gonna, the bottom of my nose is probably gonna be about here. And my mouth is gonna be about here. So I'm like making a little map for how I'm gonna draw out my face. So then the distance between our eyes is usually pretty similar to the actual size of our eyes itself. So if my eye is about, let's say, this big, I'm not doing my perfect eye shape right now. I'm just trying to find the placement of everything, right? Because we want it to be in the right place before we really commit to making those like really well-defined lines. So this distance here is about the same as the eye itself, okay? Then our nose, I'm going to be looking at my nose. We kind of have a line that comes out like this, right, on either side. And then the shape of your nose, you can kind of measure too, like what's the shape of your nose in comparison to your eye. So you can take that to your screen and kind of check it out. Is the nose the same size as the eye? For me, my nose is a little bit wider. So then I know maybe this eye is too big, right? So this is how I sort of start to figure it out. Everything is really just light and sketchy at this point. I'm not committing to anything. I'm not making it perfect. Same with your mouth. You can kind of measure what's the mouth in relationship to your eye. For me, my mouth is about double the size of my eye. So I can kind of like put a little mark like that, kind of estimate a little bit. And then I'm looking at my page. I'm looking back and forth at my image and my page, my image and my page. Again, really light lines. Then once I kind of have this sketched out, I'm gonna actually draw in my hair because I want to like kind of have a really light sketch of the whole image before I start doing a lot of detail and thick lines with my pencil. So hair, again, I'm gonna do these quick lines. In my picture, I have my hair down, but it's pretty short and wavy. Now you might realize, oh my gosh, my eyes are too low or my eyes are too high at this point. So this is a good time to like kind of evaluate. And if you have made a mistake, that's what erasers are for, right? So you can make any changes at this point because we've done really light lines. If you're drawing an object instead of your face, you're going to draw it in a really similar way. You're going to kind of map out the size of it, and you can use your tool to measure it. So I'm going to put in my eyebrows now. And I like to, again, move kind of around the page and develop the whole picture at the same time. I feel like it just sort of comes to life better for me that way. So now I might want to start thinking about my eyeballs. If I'm happy with the placement and the size of them, then I can start adding in those details. And again, I'm like kind of looking back at my image and looking at the page, looking at my image, looking at the page, and I'm looking for details, right? I'm like, how does the eye look? How many circles are in the eye? Does it have this black part? Is there light shining into the eye? Those are all the kinds of details that you can be looking for. I'm thinking my nose is wrong. It's too low. So I'm going to bring up my nose a little bit. So if something looks odd, you can correct it. And if you guys keep working in pencil, when I take a look at it, I can help you make those corrections too. Okay, so that is by no means perfect, but it's a good start, and I'd probably just like keep working on this, keep looking at myself, keep looking at the picture, and keep trying to develop it. Once I feel happy with it, I'm going to erase these lines that go on the side, and I want to hold this up and snap a picture of it on my Chromebook and then submit it in the in the assignments. I'd like to see this before you start adding all the imagery in the background, just so we can like make any changes or make any adjustments. So this just on its own is going to be worth 5 points. So after you've submitted just your facial drawing on Google Classroom, then you can go in and start drawing in some of your symbolic imagery that you collected on your Google slide. So that will be our last final step. But if you just focus on how to do the self-portrait part, the drawing of yourself part, that will be great, and just submit that one next. Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with.